Hey people, this is Roger Gambrell, Mr. Gambrell, to my former students at Worthing and Jones and Marshall and other places I've taught at, and so forth. Sometimes, man, you guys see me online ranting and raving about the cost of college, and I'm gonna take a moment right now to show you what I'm talking about and why I rant and rave about cost of college, and that this is not an issue of President Trump, President Obama, Bush, or anyone else. It's not the president's job to set the cost of college. That's you cannot think that way. That's not the president's job. College is just like the grocery store. The grocery store sets the price, and the public determine whether or not they can buy those groceries based upon their personal budget. But since we have a guaranteed student loan system, the guaranteed student loan racket, that's what I call it, colleges and universities can continue to raise their costs because they know you're going to get the money. So I'm gonna take an example when I'm talking about. I'm gonna share my screen and show you an example. I just did some research. And hold on, I didn't come out right. Let me make sure I'm getting it right. Okay. And I don't know if it's showing. Let me make sure this is doing it. Okay. Let me make sure this is right because it's not coming. I don't think it's coming. Okay, let me do this again. All right. Okay, so I still don't think y'all got it yet. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, and hopefully this works out, I'll go back and check it before I post this. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna do a little drawing on the screen and just use my alma mater TSU as an example. I want you to notice that if you look over here to the left, over here, that the average cost after receiving financial aid is $20,000. Graduation rate 17%, acceptance rate 67%. So what I'm gonna do with these numbers is I'm gonna change this to 70 and make this 20, just to make the numbers easy to work with. So in other words, out of every 100 people that TSU that applies to TSU, 70 of those people they accept, and they only graduating 20% of 70. So 20% of 70 is 14. So TSU graduates 14 kids out of every 70 people right now. That's 14 graduating. Now, look at the cost of what it is before aid and after aid. So it's about $20,000 you pay. And look at how many people, look at what people pay that make less than 30 and then people that make 48 to 75. There's not that much difference. So let's just say that $20,000 is what people pay. So you're gonna tell me that after 4 years, 80 grand, 80 grand. I'm gonna ask that question. I think this is a fair question. I'm a TSU grad. Is $80,000 worth it of debt? When I graduated TSU in 1996, that's 24 years ago, I walked away from TSU debt-free. I spent all together at TSU, probably all together with all of my tuition, and bills, maybe $20,000. Maybe. 4 years, that's 8 semesters. I'm talking about adding summer sessions and everything, because sometimes I paid for classes out of pocket. Probably about 70%, probably about 75% of the money I got through scholarships and financial aid, and the other $5,000 to $6,000 I paid out of pocket. It could have been 7 or 8. I don't remember. I had to go back and look at the numbers, but it's been 25 years. Who's gonna look for that? But I kind of remember the numbers. My point is this: when you talk about college, this is not an issue of the president of the United States. This is not an issue of what the Congress should do. This is an issue of the university and colleges in general, really looking at how they spend their money so that they can cut what needs to be cut to lower tuition. This is just like if you go into an Apple store and they streamline their stores and make it where they can be cost effective. Colleges are not doing that. Colleges are saying, okay, we're going to get guaranteed student loans, so we know we're going to get this money. So let me take you a perfect example. Now come back over here to the left. TSU average 20 grand. Rice is average 20 grand. So think about this for a second. Rice has a lower acceptance rate, but a higher graduation rate. And in both cases, you're going to walk away spending 20 grand at both TSU and Rice. So what's the better opportunity? You may say, well, it's harder to get in Rice. Yeah, that's true. It's harder to get in Rice. But look at the graduation rate. So what I want to show you is I want to show you how to look for colleges. Look at U of H Clear Lake. 79% graduation rate, 72% acceptance rate. Look how much money you're going to pay per year, $13,000. That's not bad. U of H downtown. So you got to ask yourself, when you do these searches and you look at these colleges, just this general information, use a common sense question to ask yourself: graduation rate, acceptance rate, average cost. And you got to think about that when you start talking about debt. You got to ask yourself, the decision I'm about to make for this degree that I'm going to earn, is it worth 80 grand? What does 80 grand mean? 80 grand, if you $80,000 in debt when you graduate college, it means you're not getting a house. Most likely, 80 grand in debt puts you in a bad place. Because you say 10 years paying that, that's going to be an average of about $500 or $600 a month in student loan debt. Question is, do you want to cover that? I'm asking this question, very simple question, because I'm looking at these numbers and I see how everybody's talking about how the Congress needs to do something. I think people need to make common sense decisions to say, I'm not going to pay that. I think if people start making a decision to say, I'm not going to spend this, colleges will change. And I like what President Trump did on Friday, on this past Friday, June 26th, when he signed that executive order saying the government would no longer make college degrees the principal way of hiring. They're going to now make it about skills. That's leveling the playing field. And then not only did the government make that decision, but IBM was there. 4 or 5 major corporations that hire people was there to say, we're going to follow suit. So what happened on Friday? That made a major difference in the cost for poor middle-class people. In the next 5 to 10 years, that's people that's not going to get into college debt. That means they can buy a house. That means they can get married. That changes the whole dynamic of their life if they're not going to go to college, if what they want to do doesn't require a college degree. And so I just did this video, this quick little video, just to bring some awareness to you guys. And hopefully it's just something to think about. And some of these costs, I don't even include in here living expenses, books. That might be included in here. I'm not sure what these exact numbers entail, but I just want to do a quick little, just a numbers game. And even when you look at the programs, there's not a lot of selection. So you got to ask yourself, is it worth making this $80 million commitment? And this is not just TSU. If I come over here, let me go back to my mouse and just kind of scroll through here. Not just TSU, I'm gonna clear this screen here. Not just TSU. Let's look at School of Auto. That's for-profit university. Art Institute. They got a 17% graduation rate, but they got 21%, $21,000 cost after the aid. Look at that graduation rate. That's horrible. Look at the College of the Mainland. $2,800 tuition, 2-year school. You really need to pay attention to cost. I'm gonna give you another example of what I'm talking about. I'm gonna pull another school up in Austin. And it's gotta show up. There we go. The school in Austin right now. I'm gonna get some criticism from people from the HBCUs, but you know, you gotta take the hit and be real about the numbers. Tell the story. Houston Tellison University in Austin, private not-for-profit 4-year school. Look at the average cost after age, $17,000. Look at that graduation rate, 21%. Look at that acceptance rate, 30%. That means out of every 100 people, they accept 30. And then when you take 20% of that 30, that means out of every 30 people, they only graduate 6 out of 30 people in 4 years. But yeah, you're gonna charge people $17,000 times 4. They're gonna graduate college with $70,000 of debt. Is that justifiable? $68,000 in debt. That's $70,000. Add the interest. Look at Concordia University. They got an 89% acceptance rate, but a 41% graduation rate, and they're gonna charge you 23 grand. So 4 years later, you owe $92,000. We can't blame the government for everything, y'all. You gotta sit here, you gotta do these Google searches and look at these numbers and use your brain. You learn proportions in middle school. There's no way in the world you shouldn't be able to calculate this stuff. You should be able to calculate these costs by looking at these numbers. You can clearly see that you're going into debt. This is how the elites in this country take away from the middle class and poor people. They do it through student loan debt, and they mask it in this philosophy of you got to have a college degree. That all depends upon what you're going to major in. But you got to do your homework and find those scholarships. You can't wait till the year of your senior year. You got to be looking for scholarships in your freshman and sophomore year and start writing those letters and getting ahead of that stuff. Very important. Because a 4-year decision can cost you 10 to 15 years of your life paying back debt. So on that note, I just want to do this quick video. I'm gonna stop right here. If you guys got any questions or just make a comment, I don't care. I like the dialogue. We need to dialogue and talk more. I've got experience with this. I've gone through college. I've got 3 different degrees. I owe no college debt. So if you have a question about that, hit me up. God bless.